It is 7 o'clock on Tuesday, January 25th, 2022. We're going to open the administrative board meeting. Roll call, please.
Yep, I have trustees Chris Samples,
Here.
John Talbot,
Here.
William Luxinger is absent, Nathan Maas,
Here.
Jen Christensen,
Here.
Bill Mochisi is absent, President Rick Worm,
Here.
Treasurer Brenda Onemy,
Here.
I Clerk Sandy Maas am here, Public Works Supervisor Brett Berge,
Here.
and Engineer Matt Hansen,
Here.
and attending remotely is Attorney David Silverman.
Here.
Stop. Yes.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'll take it.
Throw it up there. All right. First item on the agenda is the consent agenda. What we have on the consent agenda this evening are the December 28th, 2021 administrative board minutes and the bills payable warrant list dated January 25th, 2022. At this time, do any of the board members wish to remove any of the items from the consent agenda for further discussion? If not, we'll entertain the first motion.
I move to place agenda items 1 and 2 inclusively as consent agenda items. Further, I move that all items be considered together as a consent agenda.
Second.
Jen makes a motion to place items 1 and 2 inclusively as consent agenda. Nathan seconds. Roll call.
Jen,
Yes.
Bill is absent, John,
Yes.
Nathan,
Yes.
Chris,
Yeah.
and William's absent.
Motion passes 703. You want the second motion?
I move to adopt items 1 and 2 inclusively on the consent agenda in a single group pursuant to the omnibus vote procedure specified in the Illinois Municipal Code.
Second.
Jen makes a motion to adopt items 1 and 2 inclusively as the consent agenda. Nathan seconds. Roll call, please.
Bill is absent, John,
Yes.
Nathan,
Yes.
Chris,
Yeah.
William's absent, Jen.
Yes.
Motion passes also at 703. We do not need item C. We didn't remove anything. We'll move to the reports of the officers. Under me, we have fuel report and water report. Anybody have any questions on either of them? They are in the packet. On a side note, you guys all probably realize we did have a fire in the villages this morning. Sandy will be taking items, sizes and everything were posted on the rants page for the residents, and we'll be taking some of the donations here for them. There's no questions on the fuel or water. We'll move on to the clerk. Sandy?
In the packet is the FOIA report. I did receive one FOIA request. It's on there if anybody has any questions on it. And then I will be gone through Thursday and Friday to speak for the Municipal Clerks of Illinois Conference in Bloomington.
Can you speak up? The fans super loud.
I said I'll be gone Thursday, Friday this week if the Municipal Clerks of Illinois in our meeting in Bloomington.
Warmer there.
It's not.
And why would it?
It's 2 hours.
Not quite far enough south.
You didn't say she was going to Vegas.
It's out.
That's it.
Treasurer Brenda,
Nothing
might be a little-
tonight, right now.
report of the attorney and David.
No report at this time.
All right, we'll move on to Matt. Project update.
Yes, just a few things. Just added the Edson Road seal coating project as a new project at the bottom of the first page. Got the estimates and stuff there for it. Also added the Junction Road sidewalk replacement in front of the fire station. I did check with Dale. I got to reach back out to him. Sandy had mentioned that there's a question on the fire department's approach, how much need to be replaced. So I will hopefully have that for you next week. Nothing there. I guess the last thing was on the last page, the Rebuild Illinois Downtown Main Street capital grant application that got completed and it was submitted electronically to DCO. So I'm trying to find out how many they actually received. I just have not heard back anything from them on how many applications they received. So if I do hear something, hopefully I'll have something to report next week.
Do we know how long it takes to hear back from them?
Supposedly, with this, they're supposed to announce it by, they indicated April, and they probably need to because this, part of the money that's in this has state capital funds in it, but it also has federal COVID dollars in it. And the federal COVID dollars have to be spent by the end of 2024, which I know seems like a long way off, but you know, by the time they announce the grants and these communities get things designed, bid, you know, constructed, depending on the size of the project, they'll be pushing that. So I'm assuming they're going to be pretty aggressive about getting these reviewed.
All right,
And I-
my question is, are you contacting the fire department about their portion of the
We-
sidewalk?
We can, if you want us to, we can reach out to them.
Do we need them to?
Well, we were going to evaluate the apron and see by doing the sidewalk because their apron in front of their station is bad. It's
Right.
Real
I'm
bad.
saying,
So
are you?
we were waiting to find out where we stood with the project and everything before I talked with the chief
Oh.
again. So
All right,
Well, we get, maybe if nothing else, we'll find out how far back we need to go on the apron. So when we talk to them, we can say, hey, we at least need to replace back to here to meet the ADA cross slopes and.
Yeah.
They might want to, even if we don't have, if not enough of it's bad, maybe they want to go further with their removal and replacement.
well, the cost, if we did it together for us was $30-some thousand, was that right?
Yeah, I have to take a look and see which one's which. I had 30,
I thought it was 30-something.
34 and the other one was 58.8. I think the 34 was with the fire department replacing their apron. I think the larger cost was if they didn't replace their apron, then we have to go out into the street and do some street replacement to correct get the cross slope the way we need it, you know, and stuff for ADA. So it's cheaper to go with the fire department if we can.
Which we'll try to see if we can get them to do that and then.
Yep.
Get back to you. All right, thank you. Unless you want him to.
it doesn't matter to me. Like I said, we kind of got to get some more details on this
Yeah.
job before we,
All right,
so.
we'll talk about it after the.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. And then I did, I think I just sent it to the grant application that did go in for the rebuild downtown. I did send a PDF of that to Sandy and William. So
I did not get that.
you did not get that?
No, can you give it to me in a share file? It's probably too big for the server.
Oh,
I'm glad you
can-
said something.
I'll send you a link
Yeah,
so you can download.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then everybody can get the application. The one thing in there that might be of interest to you is we did lay out at least a preliminary layout for the commercial lots on the property and the roadway and access. So
Yeah.
you might have some interest in that.
Okay, yeah, if you don't mind giving me a link.
Yep, I will do that. Sorry about that. I should have followed up with an email.
I'm so glad you said something.
What's the phone?
We're gonna get to that here in 2 seconds.
Are you done, Matt?
Yep, I'm done. Yep.
So we have William on the line. We get somebody to make a motion for him to attend remotely.
I'll make a motion that William Luxinger attend remotely due to work.
I'll second.
Don makes a motion to allow William Luxinger to attend remotely. Jen seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. 10. All in.
William,
I'm here.
William's in attendance at 7:10.
Looks like a phone.
Move to the committee reports, community development and events. Jen,
I have nothing.
finance, William,
I believe mine is reserved for closed session.
the other one is not. So you have the resolution for 117 Prairie Moon on there. If you'd like to, David is on the phone and I asked him to be prepared for questions or to review or what it is.
David?
Yes. 117 Prairie Moon, the property that just won't go away.
Maybe.
Okay, so last year at a meeting, Mark was directed to prepare a resolution that would sell 117 Prairie Moon under what's known as the appraisal method in the statutes. So an appraisal was made of the property and it was valued at $13,000. What that means is you can accept any bid that exceeds or is not less than 80% of that appraised value. And the way you're going to go about doing that is through a bid process. You can adopt the resolution as presented. There's some information we'll need to fill in on it. And we can talk about those items in a few minutes. And the resolution lays out not only the price, but you'll see that there's a blank there that the village will accept bids up to a certain date, and we should give enough time to generate enough bids. We've also put in a restriction in there that the property does need to be used for the development of a single-family home consistent with the zoning in the district. That was to address some concerns raised by some of the trustees that one of the neighboring property owners or the neighboring property owners might try to split the property and just create bigger side yards for themselves. And of course, the village would want to have this property go on the tax roll as a full market value single-family home. So that restriction's in there, and it would include a development timetable for that to happen, the pulling of a building permit. We would certainly, for the winning bidder, and I'll get to the process of establishing a winning bidder in a minute, we would prepare a purchase agreement with them that would also have those restrictions in it, that the property needs to be developed with a single family home. The deed would have a reversionary clause if that didn't happen within some certain amount of time, that they didn't pull a building permit, do all the things that they were supposed to do, the property would revert back to the village. So you really do control this process significantly. Now, to accept a bid, and you don't have to accept any of the bids, but if you want to accept a bid, at some point after the last date, a winning bid can be chosen by a 2/3 supermajority vote of the Board of Trustees. And again, a couple of things that we'll need to do too is the resolution will need to be published in Ogle County Life or a local newspaper. We would advise that you do that a few times to generate interest and build bids for the property, hopefully to get a really good price for it. And again, you have to settle on when you'd want the bids to close. You'll see that again, that's highlighted in the resolution that's in your packet in 2 places. And then I'm available for any other questions.
David, it's John.
Yeah.
When you say 80% of the 13, so that's 10,400. So the minimum amount someone would have to have would be 10,000 to buy that, and there's no exception to that, is correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And then as far as the timetable to build a house, Brett reminded me of a situation that I'm not quite sure over in Ogle Crossings, where people bought extra lots and those lots are still sitting vacant, or actually they put trees on them and never did build a home. So I'm not quite sure what happened there. But this time period, then if they didn't build the home, it would revert back to us and the property.
Yeah, there would be a reversionary provision in the deed that if they didn't pull a building permit, we'd probably stage it. So they'd have to pull a building permit by a certain date and then have the house constructed by a certain date. And we would certainly defer to you guys on what would make sense for that, given obviously weather conditions and everything else. And then, yeah, and then if they didn't do those things, if they didn't hit those benchmarks, the reversionary clause could kick in.
Okay, so if we don't meet the 10-4, then there's not any other motions or something someone's going to try to pull to sell the property?
No, you have to accept, the minimum bid you can accept is that $10,400 and something bid, because that's 80% of 13. And again, you don't have to accept any of them. But the other thing to remember is you need a 2/3 supermajority vote.
So then basically, David, when they buy it, then they don't have to bring any ability to prove they can build a house or bring any ability to have a preset design of what they're gonna do with it. Because in the bid for the house or for the auction or whatever we're doing with this, it's gonna spell out the intentions of what the village wants. So then in that wording, could we tell them, you know, they have to come with proof of finance to build a home, or at least proof of design that they're gonna build a home, or is that asking too much?
Well, no, that's certainly not asking too much, but if you look at the second paragraph of section 1 of the resolution, it says the village board further finds and determines that the property is best suited for detached single-family residential development, and therefore requires that any prospective purchaser disclose to the village its development plans for the property and the anticipated timetable for such development. We could certainly add in there in a demonstrated financial and other capabilities to actually build a house if you want to add that into.
Well, my only concern is people, you know, one day have money, then the next day they wake up, they got excuses to what happened to it. And I just don't want someone to buy vacant land and plant trees on it like they did over there in Oval Crossings, so.
We don't need.
Well, and that's why the reversionary provisions would be put into the deed. And those provisions would also be echoed in the purchase sale agreement we would draft with the winning bidder.
Alrighty.
John,
William,
Go ahead, William.
the property in Oval Crossing and how that went down, that's beyond the village's control. People can buy land and not be required to build on it. This property that on Prairie Moon is ours, and we're just creating a stipulation that they have to build on it.
well, but we could create a stipulation through some sort of ordinance on those vacant lots within Oval Crossings that wouldn't have happened. But I think we decided we weren't gonna do that.
I think there was an
No, we'd
agreement.
have to do, we would have.
I
to
don't
do
think
like-
we could have.
The original,
No, we'd
Oh.
have to do like a,
because we're losing revenue.
That's probably
Oh,
that's a corporate
just-
agreement or something.
do like a tax for a deed.
Anyway,
They're called like tax stamps for the deeds, and so you do those for municipalities to help regulate things, but we really are
That's-
limited.
Question too about that property, just because my memory is, at this point is failing me. Did they remove, when they raised the house, did they remove the foundation as well, or did they just bury the
Yes.
foundation?
It's all-
Yes, is removed.
They actually removed the concrete
Yeah.
as well, okay. Because that would be a shock for somebody to start building and find out. that-
No, it was completely removed.
and then they filled it.
I
They-
drove
Filled
by
it
it
in.
every day.
The only question I have is how far out can we make the acceptance of the proposals? So if we choose to adopt this in February, can I make that deadline in April so that I have time to advertise or to reach out to developers or things like that? So is there a limitation on how far out that
No,
line needs to be?
no. No, choose a date. I mean, make it reasonable, so don't make it like a year.
No.
But, you know, yeah, like, if you're thinking April, Sandy, and the rest of the board agrees with that idea, then that's perfectly acceptable.
I was thinking like 60 days would give us enough time to publish it a few times and to reach out to the people who have developed here in town that we could just see if they're interested. If they're of some interest.
Any further questions?
No, thank you, David.
Would the board be
Yep.
okay with passing something like this?
I don't have an issue.
Okay, does anybody care if I pick a date in April in which I am here?
Nope.
What date in April would be when we began this process? Is that
It would be when the proposals would be due.
would be due?
Yeah, so that gives me February and March to advertise and let the developers know. And I think that April's a pretty good start date for construction weather too.
Yeah,
Well,
normal.
I don't know that
normally.
they would necessarily start right then and there or even in the summer. We may need to contingent until the following summer for a start date at least by then.
Ew.
I mean,
No.
just because, I mean, you don't have to, but
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how quickly, unless it's already a builder that's ready to go or has a system,
That's
so.
why I really want to get at to the developers that would have built here and
Right.
can build quickly.
That would be very possible, I would imagine, but, I mean, most of these ones out here already have buyers, correct?
Yeah.
So.
What
I
are
mean,
lot, what are lots?
setting up a buyer may take a little bit longer and thus a problem. I mean,
But
putting
yeah,
in the middle of David, Prairie
since-
Moon
yeah.
on the
I
corner
was gonna
there.
say, since the location is set.
Um, I think part of what they have to submit though is their timetable. So you guys will be able to look at them all and be like, all right, that's an unreasonable timetable to be 2 years before it's built.
No, I agree with that. I
So
mean,
I think that being a part of what people are submitting is a good thing so that board can be like, no, 2 years is unreasonable, maybe 6 months is not feasible.
Right. All
I
right.
don't know, with COVID and the shortages of materials. I don't know what to say.
Those developers are not struggling.
Yeah, but it takes a little while for products right now and things of that nature. There's,
That I agree.
and especially depending on seasonalness, winter's always a bad time to find products because winter
Yeah.
slows things down. So
So-
even
Wood,
more.
You never know.
And so-
Wood.
Well, and here's the thing, I guess we'll just see what we come up with.
All right, I agree.
So, all right, then I'll put a date in April in there if you're okay with that, William, and we'll present it next week with a date.
Sounds good.
Yes.
Do you have anything on ordinance enforcement?
No.
All right. Parks, John?
No.
Streets, Chris?
Yeah, I just want to thank our snowplow people and street cleaners, or I don't know, whatever you call
Public Works employees?
them. Yeah, no, but I mean specifically to cleaning the streets.
Yes, most
They-
definitely.
they look-
That's all of them.
That would be it.
That's
Yeah.
all of them.
All right, then our public works people.
Well, and
We even moved Nate over to Public
And
Works
Nate,
for
yeah.
terms of snowplow.
Yes, 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 we did.
he's an
It's-
honorary.
They've done a great job, especially being short staffed, and I think it looks good, so.
Yeah.
Thank you. I will pass that along.
Especially when 1.5 inches turns into almost 4.
Yeah, no kidding.
I don't care how much it is. Hopefully.
Well,
I just wish it was-
it's tough when you're watching the forecast and you're literally planning for 1.5 inches of snow and it dumps 4 inches on you. Your plans change.
Yeah. It was-
Making up for what it didn't dump the week before.
What's that?
Making up for what it didn't dump the week before.
Exactly.
I think 72 all the way to Rockford was good too for Ogle County. I mean, kudos to them as well.
All right.
Rockford,
All right.
on the other-
Anything further, Chris? Utilities, Nathan?
Everyone received the service line warranty program sample documents in their emails, yes?
Yep.
I've had a chance to take a look at them. Is there any questions or concerns on those documents?
I think it's a great idea.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and approve those?
Yep. Well, they don't need to be formally approved.
Right, right, let's go ahead and push forward with that then.
I just want to make sure nobody had any problems.
Do you have anything with pricing and such? Do we have anything prepared for the water? With the leak?
The filter?
Yeah,
No, I've still got to talk with Matt on that. So
okay, perfect. Then I have nothing further. Everything else is still awaiting.
Anything on economic development? They are building a Benny's just west of 251 on 72.
Is that what's going in there?
Yes,
Oh,
just
And
once again,
It's not a case.
there are people that don't know.
I
storage
tried-
units.
And storage
And
units.
Storage units.
no car
Behind it.
wash though. Is there a car wash
I
coming
don't
there?
think so.
That would be nice.
We do get people still asking and then just try to get it out there. If somebody watches this meeting, they'll know now as well.
Just a car wash.
The store.
Runs with its own-
Public, Glenda?
Nothing.
All right, in that section, we do need closed sessions.
I'll make a motion to go into closed session or 2C5, the purchase or lease of real property for the use of the public body, including meetings held for the purpose of discussing whether a particular parcel should be acquired. Also 2C11, litigation when an action against affecting or on behalf of the particular public body has been filed and is pending before or an administrative tribunal, or when the public body finds that an action is probable or imminent, in which case the basis for finding shall be recorded and entered into the minutes of the closed meeting.
Amen.
Always love the second part. John makes a motion to go into closed session under sections 2C5 and 2C11. Chris seconds. Roll call.
Yep. Nathan,
Yes, here.
Chris,
Yes.
William,
Yes.
Jen,
Yes.
Bill's absent, John,
Yes.
All right,
7:25.
it is 7:25. Prepare for closed session.
I'll make a motion to reconvene open session.
Second.
Jen makes a motion to reconvene open session. John seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Back in open session at 8:09 PM on January 25th, 2022. Everybody's still in attendance that was in closed session, I believe.
No,
No, we lost William during the transition.
He said he was gonna go.
Yeah.
So we lost him at 8:07, 8:08. We will move forward with what we can.
I don't
close-
think we need to take any.
We don't
action.
have any action on it. There was no vote. It's just information.
David,
Oh.
since you're here, you want to confirm that?
Yes, we will proceed as directed.
Okay. Thank you all for a little bit longer time.
Did you want to ask the public if they had any?
There's no. public.
No, we have no public.
She's not up there.
Yeah.
Glenda didn't come back
Well,
either.
then hell, motion to adjourn.
Second.
John makes a motion to adjourn. Nathan seconds.
Sandy, do you need these back?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign.
I put it in my drawer.
Adjourned at 8:10.